Hello and welcome to Andy Sketch. In this video I'm going to show you the Sketchup interface and where to download Sketchup from. But here's some hardware recommendations. Now let me point out that these are only recommendations. I'm not telling you to buy this one or that one or any particular brand. It's your choice what you choose. The first thing is though, have to buy what you can afford and what your budget will allow. With that said, let's talk about mice. No, not the fluffy squeaky kind. I would always recommend a decent 3-button scroll mouse. Why a 3-button scroll mouse? Well, you'll need the button that's underneath the scroll wheel to actually activate the orbiting tool that's in SketchUp. Now more on the orbiting tool in a later video. But I've tried several ways of navigating around SketchUp. I've used trackballs, I've used graphics tablets, but it always comes back to the good old trusty 3-button mouse, and that was what I would recommend to anyone who's learning to use SketchUp to use. Now on to keyboards. It's not rocket science with keyboards as long as there's a good quality QWERTY keyboard. There are a lot of different ones to choose from out there. There are some out there with Cherry MX keys and there are some out there with RGB lighting. None of those which will help you make a more better or complicated model within SketchUp, but that is just a personal preference of the person that wants to use whatever keyboard. So a good simple keyboard is all that's needed, and as long as you can use some of the shortcut keys that's in this diagram, then I'm sure that it'll be a good keyboard for whatever you want, and I will put a link in the description for that diagram in the description down below. Now for computer specs. SketchUp isn't a resource hungry program. It's quite a small program compared to quite a lot of others out there, but I do have a spec sheet. I'm never going to remember this. Windows 7, 8, 8.1 and 10, 1 GHz processor. These are minimum system requirements, don't forget. 3D class, video card with 512 megabytes of memory, and the OpenGL 3, it says here, has to be up to date. Again, Mac OS 10, 2.1 plus gigahertz Intel processor, 4 gigabytes of RAM. OpenGL version 3 has to be up to date again, but we do actually recommend that if you do have a 32-bit operating system, that you will no longer be able to run SketchUp on the 2017 version. You can only run up to the 2016 version because they do not support 32-bit operating systems now on the 2017 version. And finally, on to monitors. As with TVs, bigger is better. Whoa, no, not the case. The size of the screen is entirely up to you, but just remember that if you're going to use something as stupidly as small as a 7-inch screen or as big as a 55-inch plasma, it's never going to work. It's just ridiculous. So, but what you use is entirely up to you on how big you want to go with your monitor. 22 to 24 is usually about the norm these days. So use a monitor that your computer is able to output to as well successfully without losing any colors or anything like that. And just remember that how quickly your model will actually redraw on screen is not down to the monitor, it's actually down to your graphics card that's inside. So please remember that. Now here we are on the Google home screen, and to get into downloading SketchUp, let's go to SketchUp and we'll choose SketchUp free, because we're having the free version. We're not going to go, unless you particularly want to go to the paid version, which you'll get the Pro. Let's go to sketchup.com, and it asks you a couple of questions here before you even get to download the software. It gives you a thing for hardware and software requirements. Now, we've already gone over software and hardware requirements. We can also, if you would particularly like to review those hardware and software requirements, even though I've gone over it previously in this video, but it does ask you, do I plan to use SketchUp for? Is it professional work, personal projects, or educational use? Now, personally myself, I go use it for personal projects. So here we are. It tells us a bit about yourself. You use it for personal projects. If you particularly want to, you can put in your email address, and that will give you, so it says send me SketchUp news, tips, and all the rest of it there. I click out of that because I don't really want to have that. We're going to use it for profession and interest. You click on there, and it gives you several different options down here about what you want to do, whether you want to use it for event planning, game design, or surveys and all this sort of thing. Let's just put it down to other at this point in time, and you click on I agree to you, agree for SketchUp makes licensing agreement, and you can read that if you particularly want to. And if you think you need SketchUp Pro, which is a paid version of the program, you can also download that from here if you go into that link there. But we'll usually just download SketchUp Make. Now, going out of that, when you've downloaded SketchUp, you're presented with a screen very similar to this, and you'll see all these scrolling banners going across. You have several options when you see this screen. You can choose a template from here. You can go to add a license if you particularly want the SketchUp Pro version. You do actually get the Pro version for I think it's a maximum of 30 days for a free trial of SketchUp Pro, if that's particularly what you want. But after that, it reverts back to SketchUp Make. There are different things you can actually show your license just there, and it gives you the license keys and all the rest of it. But here's the templates. I've got a couple of templates that I use quite a lot, and you'll see this 1000 by 1000 box template used on preceding videos from this one quite a lot. There's also a lot of other templates, like simple templates, feet and inches. You've got simple templates in meters. Architectural and design, but I won't go through them all. But there's 3D design, but I won't go through them all because there's no point. But we're going to this one, simple template, meters there, and we'll click that one up, and we're going to start using SketchUp down here in the bottom right hand corner. Now, when you see it come out like that, here you'll see this man just here. I'm not sure what his name is, but they do actually give names to all these different characters on moving around, and this is what you're actually presented with. This bar actually here, or this is one I've actually moved to this position. Now, to get to this, there is a lot of default trays, managed trays. There's lots of things in here that you can actually do to change where you want all this to go. But you have the normal sort of file, edit, view, and all that sort of menus up here, up in the top top left hand corner, as you can see. There's the usual opens, SketchUps, and all the rest of it. And it gives you some of the things that I've been doing. There's a print preview where you can preview it, you can import, you can export to different things. You can have a 2D graphic, 3D model. You can export to other versions of SketchUp, and you can also export to other versions of different programs. There's a camera. You can have parallel projection, and you can change your perspective. You can have field of view, which changes the field of view. If anyone that isn't a camera user will actually know more about field of view than what I ever could explain. There's position the camera, so you can actually look at different things in your look around. But we won't be using any of this in the tutorials. There you can put lines wherever you want to, shapes. There's a sandbox tool that'll be coming up in another video. There's the tools that you can use, which is basically a menu driven. Here, these all in the shortcut keys that you can actually use on your keyboard for using shortcut keys. There's the window that gives you where your default trays are, what trays you can use, and all the rest of it. There's an instructor there that helps you if you want to. The instructor comes up and actually helps you along with teaching you on how to use SketchUp. If you get stuck on using a particular tool, you can go to the instructor, type in what you need to do, and it will tell you how to do it. There's an outliner. That's a bit more. There's the Ruby console, extension manager. There's extension warehouse where you can actually go and get extensions and stuff like that. It's a bit like they're plugins basically for SketchUp. You can actually set up yourself an account in 3D warehouse, and your just general preferences there. The model info about what you're actually drawing on screen, you can go to your model info, and it will actually tell you how many lines you've drawn, how many faces there is, what colours and textures you've used, and all that sort of thing. It just tells you general information about your model. You can set up a new tray for yourself. You manage the trays and go default trays, and then there's the usual help menu here. It says there, welcome to SketchUp, the Knowledge Center, contacting Trimble themselves, your license, and about SketchUp, and all that sort of thing on there. But that is the basic sort of interface that you will actually find, and it's quite easy to move around within SketchUp here. And it's all these tools down here. We will go through most of these tools and then explain what you need to do or whatever. So that's about it. Thanks for watching the video right to the end. It means a whole lot to me. Now, if you want to learn some more about SketchUp, please click on the subscribe button. And if you like this video, click on the old like button down there. And thanks for watching.